Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today, I'm Darfius,
And I'm Tara.
and this is our guest.
Hello.
So,
Say hi. You don't want to say hi? Okay, there
alright,
you go.
okay, there you go.
And you're watching
Serial
Serial
Movie.
with a cat. Today, in this channel, we normally do movie reviews, and for this time around, we're doing movie reviews of Oscar nominees, mostly Best Pictures. So today, we're gonna talk about the one and only movie that was directed by a woman in the Best Picture category, and it's called Little Women 2019. So there's just so many versions of it. So anyways, the movie was released in December 2019 and directed by Greta Gerwig. It was based on a novel by Louisa May Alcott, and Greta Gerwig adapted that from the novel, and she written her own version. The cast in the movie was Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, Timothee Chalamet, Laura Dern, Eliza Scanlon.
I think so. Yeah.
And Meryl Streep. Of course, this has to be Meryl Streep in such a very iconic movie.
See how many Oscar magnet in there. You get
Yes.
Saoirse Ronan, you get Chalamet, Meryl Streep.
They were nominated in 6 categories in the Oscars. So, first being Best Original Score, Best Costume Design, Best Adapted Screenplay by Greta Gerwig, Best Supporting Actress Florence Pugh, who played Amy, and Best Actress in Leading Role, Saoirse Ronan as Jo.
But your turn.
And finally, of course, they were nominated for Best Picture Award.
Yeah, so I mean, surprise. This movie nominated for Best Picture. For me, it's a surprise. I mean, maybe everybody else admitted it. Usually, the movie must be stronger for that
Category.
category. Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything else, I agree with it, especially costume design. You know, back then the clothes was all better, right?
Yes.
Sorry, don't be shocked.
I'm sorry, I surprised you.
Okay.
So, anyways, the story is about 4 sisters growing up together, and when they grow up, to each their own dream, except for Amy because she only wants whatever Jo have. Apparently, each of them have a very unique characteristic. They live in this lovely place alongside their neighbor, which is Laurie, which is played by Timothee Chalamet. So, moving on to how do we feel about the movie. First time when I watched the movie, I find it very, very heartwarming. I love the interaction between the characters and each and every one of them, because to see such way of living that is very relatable across time and continent, because I felt like everywhere we will have this relationship with our neighbors with our families. Everyone is very helpful to each other, and I just felt like that's how we're supposed to be, caring and very helpful to each other.
But specifically, you're talking about their houses without the fences, right?
Not really.
I mean, like because like in the movie, I see the houses they have no fences. Like the neighbors, they can get in and out. They do have fences, but I think the places in the movie was very safe. So the neighbors
The
like
neighborhood is very safe.
very close. Yeah, they're very close to each other.
So do you have anything to say? What do you like about the movie?
Come on, man, say something. No?
Now you're shy, huh? You've been meowing all the way from there.
So I'm gonna say, I just love the journey of the movie. You know, at first, I started a bit confused, but as it goes along, I can accept it. You know, the changes between the two timeline. You know, like when it goes back and forth. I thought it's gonna be a mess, but turns out to be it's understandable. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to understand. I mean, it doesn't mess up the whole storyline. I mean, everything comes together nicely. So I love the way Greta used to interpret this movie, the back and forth scene.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Christopher Nolan's Memento.
Memento, yeah.
Yeah, but the only difference is that in Memento, one is moving forward, one is moving backward.
Yeah.
But still the same technique, where when you're in another timeline, you're using a different filter, which in Nolan's case, he used the black and white, and the other one is colored. For Greta Gerwig, I think one of it has some blue hue, and the other one have like golden hue.
Yeah, the different kind of light makes you understand this one is the present, this one is in the past. I also like the old school of the movie, back then when social media is not a thing, like cell phone is not a thing, everybody not attached to their cell phones, like back then they do play outdoors, they do physical activities, even though like maybe like the sister Mac, she's old enough, but she hangs around do theater play, plays with the sisters, yeah,
Yeah.
instead of like nowadays I'm sure you see your older sister just playing with your phones or anything. So yeah, you don't get that during nowadays time. I love the pace, even though it goes back and forth. I love the pace that was fast, but it was understandable.
Yeah, at some point, remember when we watched it, we were like, it was so fast. It happened so fast.
Yeah, everything.
And sometimes you just couldn't catch what they're saying. You just have to rewatch it, the scene again and all, to get a grasp of thing. I mean, like some scenes went very very fast.
Yeah,
However, even though it was fast, but it did not like disturb us.
it didn't make me confused. That's why I'm amazed about
As
it. I mean, like we
yeah,
can understand it.
yeah,
I
pretty
mean,
much.
like when it goes back and forth, the scene is not unrelatable, but it's relatable somehow. Acting wise, for me, I expect more from Chalamet since he has brought out a few masterpieces like The King, Call Me by Your Name, Beautiful Boy, is it?
Beautiful boy.
Ah, yeah, Beautiful
Oh,
Boy.
where are you going now?
Yeah,
Huh?
for me,
Yeah, where are you going now? Where are you going, bud?
hey, wait your turn.
He don't care. Okay, anyways, continue.
So yeah, for me, Chalamet, I expect more, but in this movie, he just be another pretty boy for me. So, but I'm impressed with Joe March as well, but also she's not my most favorite. My most favorite actress in the movie, like I said, actress is Amy March. I'm already impressed when she goes back and forth in the timeline, and Amy March really sets the difference between the two timeline. Her characters specifically, like in the present, she was very elegant, she was very mature. The way she talks different, much more stronger. I mean, she acted like a strong woman when she was present, and she's just 20 because it's a 7 years different. They said it in some part of the movie. And back then when she was 13, she's so childish. I mean, she's such a brat. I mean, she had revenge. She shows tantrum. I'm so impressed by how her characters change between the two timelines. So yeah, for me, the MVP is Amy March. Or I'm not sure her real name.
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Yeah, so congrats on your work.
So I had my notes here for acting performance. Florence Pugh was so good. This like he said, the switching between the 17-year-old, the 20-year-old, and the 13-year-old was smooth, and you can see a clear difference. And Laura Dern was golden in it. Saoirse Ronan, however, is actually a bit unimpressing.
In this one.
Yeah, she's not impressing me as much, even though she was nominated for Best Actress. Though,
For Little Woman?
yeah,
Oh, I thought it just Florence Pugh for supporting.
we mentioned just now.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, so I think that's all I think about it. I mean, Timothy and everyone else bring their okay game, but Florence Pugh is on another level
Yeah,
in the movie.
We both Florence Pugh fans for this movie.
Now, yeah. Yeah, looking forward for her next work. So some of the notable scenes for us are, for me, I love that scene when Laurie was saying, "There's a girl," and he was standing on a chair with his tutor. There's a girl. Where he was looking out and looking at Amy.
At the window, right?
Yeah, and the whole sequence until he said hi to Amy, and then Amy came, and then the whole March family came in, and the whole March family left, and the whole sequence, you think your grandfather is more handsome than me? We do not compare grandfather. Yeah, that scene, if you remember. And of course, another favorite scene is when Amy sort of confessed to Laurie in Paris. Oh, that was great. That's just, the whole thing was swelling my heart and makes me feel like, oh, Amy, come cry on my shoulder.
But she was actually like intended to confess at the time, right?
Yeah. And
That's
the
what
whole
makes it
thing.
nice.
because Laurie sort of stopped her from marrying, what's that guy's name?
Freddie Vaughn.
Fred Vaughn. Yeah. So how about you? What do you think?
So she preferred to call that scene as when Amy confessed to Laurie. I prefer that scene to be called as when Amy refuses Laurie. Like I think it was my favorite scene as well. You know, like that time Laurie, I think he's just being selfish. You know, because he's like Amy said, he's afraid to lose Amy because now she looks appealing. And then because he was rejected by Joe Marsh, played by Saoirse, he rejected by her, and then he was afraid that what his feeling was, so he wants Amy now.
Now.
I mean, like, he's selfish when he said Amy don't get married. I mean, like, love doesn't actually have the right guidelines, right? We all know that. I mean, that's now right thing when it comes to love. You don't tell, you will regret it. But I just think Laurie being selfish. Even Amy says it, so that he's being mean. Because she already planned it out. All right, so I'm built myself being this elegant woman, and now I'm ready to be in the pair with guys like Freddie Vaughn. I mean, she was in the rich people's personality, but Laurie kind of ruined it. But yeah, I love that scene because Amy refuses Laurie, but also telling Laurie that she cannot be Laurie's second because Laurie has always been her first. So who's an asshole? Still Laurie.
Aw.
I don't hate the character. I just think he's a bit selfish.
Yeah, well, I guess I love the ending where, it's not what you think it's going to be. It's not Joe and Laurie in the end. It's Amy and
Oh
Laurie.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Also, my another favorite scene is when James, the Laurie's grandfather, sitting at the stairs, listening to Beth, one of the March's daughter, the youngest one, play the piano because
It reminded him
because it reminded the grandfather. How do I call it? I just call him James because it reminded of James of his granddaughter,
yeah.
who was
no,
dead.
his daughter.
His daughter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it reminded of him of his daughter. So because his daughter played piano, so he let
Yeah.
Beth play the piano. I think that scene was devastating for me as well. I mean, he
Yeah.
doesn't. I like it that he doesn't exaggerate or doesn't shows it too much. Like crying too hard. It's just like he's holding it. So I love that scene. I love the teenager. Like, his crush inside, listening, but
But he's
he
also
just
happy
he's
that
also happy. He's
with
holding
the
to that memory.
Yeah. So I guess that's what nice about the movie. Don't give you too much that you cannot take.
So now it's time for seriously. Let's go.
Seriously for Little Women. Saoirse Ronan reached out to Greta Gerwig and told her she decided she was going to play Jo March. Gerwig was initially hesitant to cast Ronan after having just worked with her on Lady Bird. But after realizing that more or less casting herself was a very Jo thing to do, Gerwig sent Ronan an email that said, "Yes, you're Jo." Each sister was given a distinctive color palette for their wardrobe. Meg's is lavender and green, Jo's is red and indigo, Beth is pink and brown, and Amy's is light blue. Their mother Marmee often wears a combination of all their colors. In between takes of Aunt March and Amy in the European carriage, Meryl Streep casually mentioned that she was in the mood for French fries. A few minutes later, a production assistant delivered Wendy's fries to her and the rest of the crew.
Did you just have French fries?
I did not, but I smell that as well.
Can you get me some?
Welcome back. I hope you find it interesting. Now it's time for our last segment,
It's our favorite.
which
The
is
serial meter.
okay. It's good. So for the point for storyline, we agreed to give it 75%. Yeah, it was strong. So I think the marks is good. Okay.
So for actors' performance, the Little Women cast gets 84%.
And how do we feel about it? Obviously, we love it. So we give them 89%.
Which brings the total serial meters for Little Women by Greta Gerwig to be 83%.
I really like for you guys to watch Little Woman.
Yeah,
version,
it's very
2019.
enjoyable. It's very enjoyable and very heartwarming. Kenapa you yap kan? So anyways, it's Oscar weekend. We'll see you at the Oscars.
Yeah.